Guys, what's up? Nathan with By the Bay Sports. Remember, sports page by a fan for the fans. That's right. Guys, welcome to episode 4. Today we got a few things on our agenda. We've got finally back week 2, I guess, after post-COVID for the Bundesliga to go over. We've also got some news regarding the Premier League, La Liga, college football, and nothing for Major League Baseball today. What is that? That just sounds kind of weird. Major League Baseball is kind of like in a stomp. Players on one side, owners on the other. Players are more worried about the safety hazards. But really, they're hiding behind that because they want their money. So I don't know what's going on there, guys. But we'll figure that out with Major League Baseball as more news becomes available. With that being said, today's Sunday, May 24th. Guess what, guys? I don't know if you guys are watching, but I know some of us like to play a little round of golf. And actually, Tiger Woods, it's called the Match 2. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson will be facing off, this time with the GOAT, Tom Brady, 6-time Super Bowl champion. And then also, as well, Peyton Manning. Brady will be paired with Mickelson and Peyton with Tiger. So it'll be kind of a fun thing to see how those two actually play against each other. Of course, it's kind of like their own rivalry in sort. So I think it's kind of cool that they're doing that to raise support for COVID-19. I think there's also going to be a slight bit of comedy. I think there is going to be, one of the holes is going to be where Charles Barkley, who we all know has a disastrous golf swing, but is also kind of fun to watch because Charles, you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. He's going to be actually playing in a hole for charity where something kind of happens. If he bogeys or better, something happens. Like Charles gets something or something goes to more for the COVID relief stuff. So I don't know if he bogeys one of the holes or less, then Charles does better. So let's get right into the business of the meat thing, which we're going to talk about. First of all, we're going to talk about college football. The NCAA came out with an approval that college football teams are allowed to return, I'm pretty sure, June 1st. SEC is actually doing their own. The Southeastern Conference is doing one. They're not going to be allowing people back till June 8th. But the rest of the college football can return June 1st for workouts and all that. So somewhat we're going to have kind of like a late spring, early summer type practice deal. I don't know. Players probably just more working out than anything than actually going and doing drills on the field. So with that being said, that's kind of good. College football, there's big hope now that this has been done, and we're going to have that for you. So now let's turn our heads to the game of world football. Of course, as you see today, I'm supporting my Manchester United jersey from the 2010 season, also the same season in which Wayne Rooney did the most infamous goal of the century with that overhead kick against City in the derby. So I think it's kind of appropriate to wear this, and also I'm supporting my Florida State Seminoles. Don't worry about my hair. My hair is kind of looking good today. So let's get back to business, guys. So we're going to talk about some stuff from yesterday. Dortmund and Schalke played yesterday, or Dortmund and Bayern both played yesterday. Their opponents. Dortmund played Wolfsburg. Dortmund looked exactly like they did the week before, last week against Schalke, and they won 2-0. I kind of watched a little bit of that game. Didn't watch. I watched the second half mainly, in which Dortmund scored a beautiful second goal with 3-2 on the counter, and it was a beautiful goal in which Jadon Sancho was on. And Jadon Sancho, of course, he did one of these crazy little moves to this one defender of Wolfsburg and just left him in the dust. He had Hakimi on his right and good old what's his face? I can't think of his name. Oh yeah, that's right. Erling Haaland on the other, but he dumped it off to Hakimi, and Hakimi hit it just perfectly into the net for that second goal that I saw. And they probably still held on to that lead 1-2-0. Then next, Bayern just absolutely told Frankfurt, we're still the kings of this league, and they won 5-2. And it just started early and went on from there. Also, kind of cool, Schalke, the other team that everybody thinks good is in the Bundesliga. They've allowed 7 goals in the past 2 games now. 7! Last week they allowed 4 against Dortmund. And then today, at home, which of course there's no fans in the stands, you think you're playing on your home turf against Augsburg. And Augsburg comes in and beats them 3-0. So, don't know what's going on with Schalke. It seems like they're starting to fall apart now that it's going to become more of a two-team race in the Bundesliga with Dortmund and Bayern. And by the way, they actually play each other on Tuesday at 12:30. I think it'll be on FS1 or FS2, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, for all those people that don't know that lingo. But it'll be on there. So, guys, be prepared to watch probably the biggest game of the season in the Bundesliga between Dortmund and Bayern Munich on Tuesday. So that'll be a game we'll probably sit here and watch and try to dissect at some point. Then we got some news also. La Liga is allowed players to return, and actually they may even, I think they're going to start the season back on June the 8th. So Spain has gotten some stuff together. Looks like they've already somewhat returned to training already. So I think games are going to be played starting June 8th. And then earlier this week, Premier League teams, and I think also the other divisions of England were all allowed to go ahead and start training. I know my team, I've seen some pictures of guys training already. Back in training, I haven't seen any pictures of Ole yet out there with the guys, but it's looking promising that we'll have some fix with that. And then also, you guys may have not heard, but the NBA came out with a thing yesterday saying that they are thinking about continuing now that Florida, the state of Florida, which is where I live, has allowed professional sports to return, to train, and all that, to do games even. And they're in the works of trying to maybe use Disney's ESPN Wide World of Sports to finish some games for the season. So that's in the works. Who knows how long that'll be, if they can get all the players on board, the coaches, teams, organizations, whatever. So that's a good bit of news. But don't forget, guys, at 3 o'clock today, which is in about an hour and a half from now, it will be the match for COVID-19. Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady versus Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning on TNT. Be sure to watch that and cheer on either one of your two favorite quarterbacks or one or two of your favorite golfers of all time. And I'm going to be honest, I like all those guys aboard. I'm going to be honest, it's kind of funny. They did a kind of like an interview thing a few weeks ago with those guys. And Tiger and Phil were talking about how they hadn't really ever in golf, when they teamed up with each other, played that well in the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup. And then you got Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. These two, they both play very good. I think it was Julian Edelman came out the other day and said if Tom Brady doesn't shoot 80 or below, he ain't happy. So Tom Brady is probably a pretty good golfer, I would assume. But Peyton Manning told a funny story about the last time him and Tom played. They were playing together. I think they were just put in a group. They just went to go play with each other just to hang out. And they played a 75-year-old and an 83-year-old, and the 75 and the 83-year-old beat the two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So I think that's kind of a funny golf story in my opinion, but those two probably hadn't played in a while. But they were just more out there just for the camaraderie of each other and to play and talk. And you know how those two are with businesses and stuff. Peyton with his commercials with Brad Paisley, quite funny. And then Tom Brady and his business adventures as well. So it'll be fun. We'll see see how these comedies play out. It'll be hilarious. I know Tiger will probably be doing a lot more work with the club, doing a lot less talking and doing more work more talking with his clubs like he normally does. And Phil Mickelson, I gave Phil Mickelson a nickname. It's called Phil Master Wedges Mickelson, and that's only because if he's got a wedge in his hand, he does some amazing stuff with his wedge. And I tell you, when he's got a wedge in his hand, that ball has a very good chance of landing in the hole or next to the hole within 3 feet. So watch out for Phil Mickelson doing something crazy with his wedges today. Tiger probably just killing. Over, under, I don't know what they're doing with the bets in right now, but I wouldn't be surprised Tiger has to do a stinger today. Hit one of those low-flying shots, and Tiger is very good at doing. And then don't know how Brady and Manning, what they'll do, but I'm pretty sure those two will have a little bit of some side bets as well with each other. And I know Tiger and Phil, when they did the first match, they had a lot of bets. with each other as well. So, and they would just pop up and say, one would say, hey, this to the hole, or this furthest for whatever kind of money. So be sure to watch the match on TNT at 3 o'clock here in about an hour and a half, guys. With that being said, don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube to By the Bay Sports, and don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And also I'll be posting that video to this video as well to Instagram TV, so that can be put out there as well. All right, guys, Nathan with By the Bay Sports. Catch y'all later.